The Truman Show, probably one of my all-time favorite movies, and Jim Carrey's most iconic role. A story about breaking free from a fabricated society and allowing yourself to enter the real world. But if we change the perspective from Truman, and instead focus on the guy running the show, Christoph, it becomes a story of watching your pet project slowly unravel in front of your eyes, only for them to break free despite all of your relentless attempts at destroying his free will. But to understand that, let me just put you in his shoes. Now imagine that you are Christoph. You are a man absolutely tired of the same Hollywood shtick. Awards, accolades, and whatever. It's all so fake. What you want is something real. Basically, you want to create a show where the character is a real and honest-to-God human, but the rest of the show is as fake and literally as unrealistic as it can possibly get. And for some inexplicable reason that you don't fully understand, but you don't particularly care, it gets approved. First of all, though, you find a baby. Not just any baby. Well, actually, you find 4, but a perfect baby that arrives ahead of schedule. And for some reason, everyone thinks this is normal. Everyone is on board because it's art. It's groundbreaking. It's the future of entertainment in itself. And most importantly, it's yours to control. It's not all plain sailing though, because from an early age, Truman showed a propensity for exploration. Always mentioning and trying to crawl off into restricted areas. So you think about what you can actually do here. And the most logical conclusion that you can come to, of course, is childhood trauma. So you kill off his dad in a boating accident, and the desired effect is actually achieved. Truman develops a crippling fear of water. It all seems to be going really well. Granted, the dad actor didn't really like that all that much, but you're sure with a small severance, it'll all be fine and things can continue on like normal. That is until Truman gets the eye for some random extra. Like, really, bro? You're throwing him Laura Linney, and he thinks he's too good for her or something? Like, the audacity. Laura Linney, and he thinks he's too good for her or something? And he's just really not playing by the rules here. And that's fine. You do what any creator would do. You make her disappear. You know, she's just an extra. Her life has no value in this perfect world. And things relatively keep on at a normal rate. Truman takes up his role like he was born into it. And seriously, you kind of lucked out with this guy. He's charismatic, he's witty, he's charming, and a little bit eccentric. He became an insurance salesman because there's nothing more safe than insurance. He got married to the perfect bride. And generally, the world is perfect because you made it so. Everything just works. The smiles, the storylines, people tune in like clockwork every day. People even tune in while they're sleeping. The world loves you. The world loves Truman because he is a true man. Maybe one day you'll get a golden statue, but no, of course not. Hollywood doesn't get the art of it. They don't understand how genius this actually is, and they'd rather give it to crap. Anyway, one day you're just minding your own business, grabbing a coffee, knowing the morning rounds are going to happen, you know, just a typical day-to-day thing. You make sure the dog does his morning rounds of scaring the living crap out of Truman because you need to instill that fear in him every single day. But, you know, one of your assistants actually comes up to you one day and says, "My lord." Yes, you do get them to call you my lord. It appears one of the starlights fell from the sky. Oh, God, you cannot be serious. Actually, my lord, it was serious. Okay. But, like, what's the damage here? What are we talking? Truman found it. Oh. Okay, just put a radio broadcast is fine. Say it's like a shedding part of a plane. Yes, my lord. Of course, you have to engineer this whole thing so it very closely resembles the real world, because otherwise it's just going to be a lot more work to get it all to function. So the stars in the sky match the stars on paper. You could easily not have stars. Just like you could not have a sun. Truman wouldn't know, but you have to make sure he has vitamin D supplements, otherwise he would probably die.
But hey, how do you feel today?
But it's awfully clever. You've done so many little tricks to get Truman to engage with the audience without feeling like he's engaging with the audience. One of them is the radio.
That's good. You think I'm flying somewhere? Nope. Oh, good.
He responds to the radio like he's thinking. It's a way of getting inside of his head, understanding how he's feeling for the day. And, you know, with the plane thing, you can kind of gently remind him that he doesn't want to fly. And of course, the only music that you play is classical.
This is classical Clive with classical drive, so why don't you forget about the pearl?
Because that's public domain, baby. Royalty free. Day continues on like normal though. Truman does his usual stuff. It's kind of cute that he still crushes on that girl from like 20 years ago. You almost feel bad for his wife because I mean like she has full knowledge of what he's doing and she's probably had a few interviews regarding that. And I mean, that thing is one of the greatest hits of the Truman Show. So, but of course you can't actually let him pursue this woman. This woman is crazy. She is trying to get him out of the Truman Show. So you have to manipulate Truman into every decision that he ever makes. You know, you kind of have to do like a little inception into his mind, make him think that he's the one that's coming up with these ideas when you're pulling the little strings like a puppet master. And it's like, honestly, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Everyone has their triggers. As soon as Truman shows any sign of desire to leave, you not so gently remind him that he cannot. So you send him off to go on a boat. And of course he can't do it. That little boat that's in the water, you know, a gentle reminder that he could die at any time. Suck on that, Truman. Don't fuck with your god. And again, the day continues, life is good. Truman gets complacent, you get your ads in, so you're making money. But of course, Truman is talking to his chum about Fiji. And he let it slip that if he gets a little bonus, he can go. Well, no sir, no bonus for you. My lord, yes. It appears that the rain only turned on in the spot where Truman was. Again?
I figure we can scrape together 8,000.
Every time you and Marlon get together,
We can
there's
bum around the world for a year on that.
What? The implications there are insane. He wants to drag his wife halfway around the world so he can go and pursue a girl that he was in love with when he was like 16 or 17 or whatever. Oh, is it 18? I don't know American grades. What the fuck is wrong with him? He's a savage. You can't let him actually do that. Not when you have babies to make. You need to make sure that the first baby is conceived on live TV. Granted, that could have been done with Big Brother already, but they didn't also do a birthing sequence. So you let them get to your little plan. Order 69, so to speak. Next day, things are going smoothly, you're eating your breakfast. You know, you can't actually sit in the control room all the time. You have to focus on the other elements of the TV show. My lord. Oh, yes. Truman's father appeared on the show. What the fuck? Yes, my lord, it's okay. The situation was immediately contained. You executed Order 66? Yes, my lord. How was his reaction? Oh, pretty intense, actually, all things considered. He chased the bus. Ooh. Okay, this is actually pretty good for our ratings. Media might roast me in a couple of days, but yeah, it's okay. But you have to take stock because first the light and now this it's a bit disconcerting. Things are starting to look like a pickle. Anyway, you tell his old lady to tell him it was just a figment of his imagination. Just something about grieving, whatever. And you make sure that you toss in a little bit of cheeky emotional trauma because he needs to be put in his place.
You sailing off into that storm, but I've never blamed you, Truman.
And if you don't start making him feel a bit powerless now, he might feel empowered to leave. And that night, he's playing with the jacket of the old squeeze, and you remind the audience who that is, Lord Merrill. But you also remind the audience that no one can break the fourth wall in this show without them being removed. And you can let him play with collages and have access to women's magazines. Because it doesn't matter, he can do what he wants in the confines of this show. Because if he actually does try anything, you're just gonna manipulate the situation and get him into submission. My lord, we have an issue. Great. It appears that the frequency of his car radio jammed and played the frequency of our directions. What? Yeah. How did he react? My lord, he sat in his car for a few minutes and he's been walking around like he was in a daze. Okay, that's not that big of a deal, right? I wasn't finished, my lord. He walked out into the road and pretended he was in Star Wars or something. Can you believe that I don't win awards, but Star Wars does? Crazy. Anyway, they're not that big of a deal. My lord, I wasn't finished. He walked into a building and saw the lunch for the crew behind the elevator. What? Yeah. And then he went to see Marlon and spilled the beans. Okay, well, Marlon's pretty good at damage control. How did that go? Marlon handled it like a pro. He's good. But they're heading to the beach now. Now you need to start thinking of your script to lay down the law with the Truman. But, you know, first of all, you need to do a little bit more gently. You give him one of your perfect sunset presets, all ready to go. To just inspire him that how beautiful Sunhaven actually is.
That's the big guy.
Damn right, that's the big guy. You better believe that you're his god. Still, you need a little bit more time to work on that script. You need to perfectly twist Truman into not wanting to leave. And you gotta get some rest for that evening. But the next day, you are keeping tabs exactly what's happening on the course of the show because everything is falling apart when you're not there. And what you see shocks the hell out of you. He goes to the hospital, actually manages to trick the nurses and walk around to the point that your actor cuts a woman's leg. That's a PR nightmare. And also, a nurse went into an OR with earrings and a necklace on. I mean, that's really not professional. That's all right, you can just fire her. And the day slowly unravels. Travel agent walks out with her makeup bib on, and your driver has to grind the clutch to brake a bus. What the fuck is happening? You need to think about what you can do here. You need to manipulate the situation to get it back in control. And I mean, if his dad dying could get him in control for decades, well, his dad being alive could probably get him back in line. But a few hours into your curation of the perfect plan, my lord, oh, for fuck's sake, what is it now? Truman has been in his car for hours, just staring at the rearview mirror. Hours. Hours? Yes, my lord. We sent his wife to deal with the situation, no? Okay, what happened? Well, he figured out our pattern with the extras. He figured it out? Yes, my lord. And you didn't think in all of that time to, I don't know, change the pattern with the hundreds of extras that we have? Why didn't you call me first? We have a small country of extras and it's clear you don't know what you're doing. Okay, I just have to fucking do everything, don't I? Brilliant, thank you. And so you barge back into the control room just as Truman is literally kidnapping his wife. So you do damage control. You get everyone on board. It's all hands on deck. You got to make sure that he doesn't leave. This is an Order 99. He has almost lost his marbles. Luckily, he runs around the roundabout enough to get enough people in to block his exit. But then he changes his mind to go home, and you can kind of breathe a sigh of relief. Good for the ratings, though. But he actually outsmarts you and your entire crew. But thankfully, you have contingencies in place. Subtle mental roadblocks from preventing Truman from, well, leaving. Holy shit. Anyway, after a wild cat and mouse chase over the island and some radioactive things and a little bit of police intervention, everything gets a little bit under control. And he finally seems like he's back in character. And you head on out and you go to get some dinner. My lord, what? Meryl pulled a potato peeler on him. What? Yeah, and she kind of admitted to him there's something going on. Oh, fuck. Okay. This is all incredibly inconvenient and actually quite terrifying. So you get Marlon over there ASAP to handle the situation. Thank God he wasn't out making his disaster movies. My lord, that's the wrong Emmerich. Fuck. Anyway, Meryl resigns because of the unprofessional working conditions. Whatever. We'll just get Truman a new toy. That's okay. Maybe one with a little bit more plastic. So he'll want to stay and have some kids. Truman has the main character syndrome. Of course he does. The internet isn't even invented yet. How the hell did he come to that conclusion? Anyway, you finally unload the script that you've been working on, and you let Truman really have it. It's beautiful, it's nostalgic, it's almost poetic, because you know Truman more than anybody else. You've watched him grow. You've made his life the way that it is. You did. You're like his real dad that he can never see, never touch. You are his creator. But then it was time for the big dramatic reveal. Because, you know, you need the dramatic moment. It is time for a greatest hits of the Truman Show. Oh boy, the ratings are gonna love this. And with this, you perform your greatest symphony ever. And if this doesn't win you an award, well, you don't know what will, because it is perfect. Now the audience gets that warm, fuzzy feeling that they all crave watching this show. And with his dad in tow, everything can get back on track. And the TVs want an interview. You know, you predicted this. It's been a wild few days. All you need to do is just reassure them everything's back on track, everything's under control, everything is perfect.
Know how demanding your schedule is, and we all know how jealously you guard your privacy.
Well, yeah. Privacy is an inalienable human right, isn't it? Anyway, you tell them all of what's going on, and the summary is that his dad had
amnesia.
The soap opera special for writing in someone who was presumed dead. And maybe actually that's why you don't win awards. This is like a soap opera, isn't it? But of course, the call is rudely interrupted by the old squeeze. She tells you you're a monster, essentially. Nah, not really. But that rattled you a little bit. You know, the last few days have been way off script, and your plans to have the first conceived baby live on air are kind of up in smoke. But that's okay. You have the beautiful lady all lined up. You've been holding auditions just in case this all happened, and Truman won't be able to help himself. In fact, you'll get someone so beautiful, you'll make Harvey Weinstein jealous that he didn't get to her first. Then between that and his dad, well, Truman will forget all about Fiji. You go to sleep that night. You spend a moment with Truman, the closest that you can get with the intimacy with your sort of child. Thinking to yourself, how did he get here? How did we get to this point? How did it all go so wrong in the last few days? And thankfully, the next morning, Truman is back to his old antics. He's doing the thing in front of the mirror. Oh, it's all good. Did he just wink at the camera? Oh boy. But no, it seems like he's back to his old self.
Morning!
You even introduce his love interest, who he dismisses immediately. But you decide, with Truman, kind of being a bit normal now, it's time to go work on future episodes. Start the ball rolling on the first conception on live TV. And eventually you do go to sleep, but something doesn't feel right. Truman's behavior was a bit off. Truman was normal, like too normal, psychopathic normal. A normal person would probably grieve a little bit if their wife left them and all of the other horrible stuff that had happened. But he didn't. He was smiling, charming, witty. And you go down and you see things, it's not right. Nothing's right here.
Enhance it.
Thank God you have technology that would make the 2020s proud. You get Marlon over there, make sure everything's kosher, turn it into a little game for the audience. That way it sounds like it's all on script still. At this point, you're probably freaking out. Like low key. This is the worst thing that could have ever happened. When did he dig that hole? Was it back then? Or was it just now? There are so many questions. There's no way he was planning his escape. Like, his behavior only really changed in the last few days after the starlight fell. Maybe he had inklings, but probably not to have a concrete idea yet. So you go full damage control. Get everyone on it. Give up any pretense of what's going on. You raise the sun. Yeah, who cares about the media? You care about the ratings, and you are having the greatest ratings of all time with this screen. That being said, that your minions run around like headless chickens and are unable to find him. But then you come to the realization that this is all a fruitless activity, and this is why they pay you the big bucks. This is why you are the top dog, because you can see things that no one else can. And you find him in the ocean, and all those years of social programming, all those years of literal mental abuse and torture really meant nothing. How did he give up his fear so easily? Damn, you should have never really have taught him to sail as a kid. That was a really dumb idea. In fact, you probably should never have showed him TV shows or movies, and then he wouldn't even understand what that concept even was. Looking back, you gave him all of the tools for his escape, but you are his god. You cannot let him escape. So you unleash your Machiavellian fever dream. After all, you do have dark triad traits. And secretly, you've always wanted to do this. And I mean, like, he will be too afraid. He will turn back. But he doesn't. And you watch as he withstands your storm. So you hit him with lightning, and he actually nearly drowns. But he perseveres like a true hero and keeps on going. I mean, the ratings are actually going to find this amazing.
Is that the best you can do? You're gonna have to kill me!
But you know, if you had the first birth live on TV, why not the first death? If this does fail, well, your life is over anyway. So fuck it, why not kill him? The ratings would be insane. And he actually looks like he dies. And for a second there, you almost feel guilty. Almost, but not quite. Guilty that the ratings aren't as high as you thought they would be.
That's enough.
Yeah, I mean, you should probably just kill the guy in 4K HD TV or on every Twitch stream. Now, you're 100% getting life, maybe even the death sentence. Oh, thank God, at least it's only attempted murder now than actual murder. I mean, you know, you can still say it's in a controlled environment, like he never had any risk of dying. The judges don't need to know that. And he keeps on going. You threw everything at him, or literally all you had. And I mean, you just tried to give him a perfect life. You tried to give him beautiful brides, a good job, and this is how it ends? He's defying you. He manages to defy you. And you can feel your heart in your throat when the boat connects with the edge of the studio. it's all over now. So you try one more Hail Mary to get him back on track. Try and manipulate this situation back into your favor.
I can hear you.
And you do a full-on monologue to really convince him. You know, tug on those heartstrings. The ultimate manipulation.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Shit. If you like the video, please give it a like and comment and everything. Other than that, I just want to shout out my members, especially Jay. Thank you, Jay. And of course, Lavender, Yuri, and Alan. Have a great day and have a great life.